I'm Ryan Mundy. This is the Pay My Dues podcast.
Play every crowd request a song. Sing till my golden voice is gone. If I'm still here, God comes back, just tell him where I'm at. On a hardwood floor in the red, white, and blues, paying my
Welcome to the Payin' My Dues podcast. We are just hanging out and going to just talk about some people in life that have been paying their dues, and super excited to welcome to the Payin' My Dues podcast today, pro BMX freestyle rider from Canton, Ohio, Mr. Marcus Christopher.
Thank you.
How you doing, man?
Happy
Welcome.
to be on.
Absolutely, dude. We're gonna dive right in. Marcus has got a huge list of things that I hope to get all covered in a short amount of time. So we'll get this rolling as quick as possible. But tell us kind of how you got in. I mean, because obviously when I was a kid, a lot of other kids out there thinking, it'd be cool to be on, to compete in X Games, to get into doing BMX freestyle for a living. And you at a young age of 21 are already doing it and have accomplished a lot. Tell us how you kind of get into it, how you get started.
Yeah, so I started on a dirt bike, a little PW50, when I was 3 or 4 years old, and I started jumping it already with training wheels, and my mom was not a fan of it.
As any mother wouldn't be, right?
Yeah, so she had my dad sell it, and he showed me BMX racing, and we started racing like that week. And I kind of fell in love with that, traveled the country, did it for about 6 years, and just slowly started getting into freestyle, just seeing X Games on TV. And I met Scotty Kramer at his track in New Jersey, and just seeing all that, it just kind of made me want to do it, and it looked like there was more freedom in freestyle. So I started getting into freestyle pretty heavy, and then fully switched over, and have been doing that ever since.
So you've been at it for basically, you said since 4, your whole life pretty much?
On 2 wheels, yeah.
2 wheels. And your dad did BMX racing as well, right?
Yeah, when he was a teenager, he raced. That's how he knew about BMX racing, and then he just showed me that because it's what he did. So
it came down the bloodline, I guess.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Did you do any, what are some competitions that you did like in the young ages of doing this? I mean, were you after you got rolling on it, were you right into competitions pretty much right after you're getting into it, or?
Not really. I skipped out on a lot of like amateur competitions and stuff. Like the first big contest I did it was like a pro contest. It was in Vegas. It was one big dirt jump, and it was called Extreme Thing, I believe. And I mean, the biggest names were there, and I went and I got 5th or 6th, which was at 13 was pretty good.
Really,
I mean, it was my first pro contest, and it's pretty awesome. It got me into the scene, and then kind of hadn't really done anything till I was about 15. Then I went to South Africa for this one contest, and once again, the biggest names were there, and it was my first like big park contest like I do nowadays, and I ended up winning it. So that was my first big win and big contest like that, so it was pretty awesome.
Winning big in South Africa as a 15-year-old, I can't imagine. I mean, so do you, when you get rolling in this, is there opportunities to do these competitions around Ohio, or you have to travel anywhere you do them?
I mean, they have a few like amateur ones around here, but like for me, I have to always travel. Like there's barely anything in America now. Like we have X Games, which was in California, and then I think in the next few years they're going to do a few more. But yeah, for the most part, I'm out of the country now.
So it's so in order to, I guess, kind of get your name noticed, to get people to take you serious that you're a competitor, you got to kind of travel around to these LA X Games style ones, and then win or place pretty well in those to be able to get to do the ones in South Africa and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, doing good and winning is like big, real big, because I mean, for these sponsors to see you, they want to sponsor the best people out there, and you got to do good. Like it took me winning the X Games qualifier when I was 16 for Rockstar to put me on, that was a hard thing to do. So you gotta do good, and social media is huge nowadays too. You gotta be posting, which I always need to do better.
I know, it's such a dragging thing. I feel the same way about it, man. It's like so much pressure on its own just to like post every day and keep up with the life that
it's
you're doing.
hard. I'm not the biggest fan, but I try.
Yeah, well, that's all you can do, man. And there's so many different algorithms and things now. It's just like, yeah. I mean, I guess as long as you're keeping people up to date on what you're doing, I feel like you should be doing fine. So nothing to worry about there. Cool, man. So you're rocking and rolling. You're doing basically the way when I was kind of seeing what all you've done. I kind of feel like you're like the Rob Dyrdek of BMX. And shout out to Rob Dyrdek, a couple of Ohio guys out here doing big things. Because I think he did a lot of big things, kind of like what you did at a young age too, and got sponsored at an early age. I think 12, 13, 14, 15.
Yeah, I don't know if I can claim that title yet, but
well, maybe like the Ohio part of it. I don't know. Would you? I mean, you're not going to say it, but I would say. I mean, I don't really know any other big BMXers from. Is there any other big BMXers from Ohio? Like any? I mean, your friends out there doing?
Yeah, Nick Bruce. He's up in Cleveland, originally from like Hubbard area, Youngstown. He was in the Tokyo Olympics.
Okay.
So he's definitely another big. He was always my mentor growing up, and
cool.
I've rode with him my whole life. So
awesome.
He's another big BMXer from Ohio.
Well, man, we got a collection of them then. A collection of very talented guys doing big things from Ohio. It seems like a trend for here in Ohio. So you say maybe he was probably your mentor. Any other big BMXers that you looked up to as a kid or once you got into this?
Just growing up watching the guys on X Games and stuff, just seeing them on TV, like Dennis Henderson and Logan Martin, just always seeing them on Instagram and TV. They were always my mentors growing up, and I'd look at what tricks they were doing and try to do them, and now I'm competing with them and trying to beat them, so pretty crazy how it works out.
Yeah. Like some guys, like some legends we're talking about, like Dave Mira, Ryan Nyquist, all those kind of guys that you would get. We talked about a little bit earlier, but Dave Mira, freestyle BMX game where you could, pretty much just go balls to the wall with it. I remember the Slim Jim guy. I would always be the Slim Jim guy and ride around as a Slim Jim guy. I thought that was the coolest thing. Dude, that's...
Yeah, put a lot of hours into that game.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, as a kid, that was like the game to play.
Oh yeah.
PlayStation 2 days. Well, for me, I'm old, but so I want to ask you, when you're watching these guys and they're doing these tricks and you're seeing them on TV, I mean, how do you even like? Do you have like a foam pit that you're like, when you're wanting to do a backflip tail whip, you're like, all right, I think I want to try this trick. Like, how do you get yourself to like practice that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, for like the level we're at now, you pretty much for most stuff have to go into a foam pit. So we'll go into a foam pit, and once you get it dialed into the foam pit, I know a lot of guys when they do 3 in a row into the foam pit, they'll take it to the resi, which is, it's like there's foam and then there's a black mat on top of it, so you can land, but if you fall or slide out, it's not going to hurt as much as like wood. And then once you get it dialed on the resi, you take it to the wood, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So I mean, how many times do you think before you're taking it to the actual ramp or whatnot? How many times do you think you're doing that trick before you're like feeling comfortable doing it?
A lot. I mean, it can be as quick as like a week, just doing it five days a week. But sometimes, I mean, it'll be months, just whenever you feel comfortable and got it dialed.
Yeah. So. And now do you have to do any kind of like certain like workouts to like train different muscles for your body to kind of move certain ways, or is that all just kind of dealing with the rest of the
Sorta, I mean, a little bit. I do a lot of I try to do like high heart rate type workouts, just keeping the blood pumping and lungs going. So just keep your endurance up pretty much.
Keep moving and keep everything loose. I mean, I can only imagine trying to tell your brain to do a backflip on a bike and then and then say, hey, do a backflip. Now do a tail whip too. Now do a backflip double tail whip. Those kind of things, man. That's a lot of left right brain kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something at first, like to someone who isn't like into it, but like to like us, like that ride, I mean, it's pretty normal nowadays.
Yeah, it's like just riding a regular bike for most people. Not with any
pretty much. Yeah,
that's awesome. So we're kind of touching on the timeline of your life a little bit. Now, your dad played football for Ohio State, is that right?
Yep.
What position did he play? Linebacker.
Yeah.
So linebacker at Ohio State. So big things were always in store for you for playing for the Ohio State, but transition that into BMX. That's cool. So did you have an interest in doing football at all, or you kind of once at the age of 4, once they saw you with the dirt bike, they're like, this is it?
I think if I didn't race BMX, I definitely probably would have played football, but I just didn't have time. I mean, we were gone every other weekend somewhere in the country racing, so I just didn't have time to play football.
And when you were a kid, that's all you did too. You were just like, you weren't like playing baseball and other stuff too.
No, I never played any like ball sports or typical like sports kids play. I was just always racing bikes.
Well, I mean, it turns out you didn't need to do it. I mean, with the path that you're on.
Yeah.
We're going to take a second here to shout out our episode sponsors. We got MyLawn Irrigation. One call does it all for all your irrigation and lawn needs. Landmark Title for any of your title loans, things like that you need, get a hold of them. And Sunshine Design for all your home event design, planning, coordinating, anything else that you might need for your events. Shout out to all 3 of those sponsors, and thank you for sponsoring this episode of the Pay My Dues podcast. So you win some competitions early in life. You win one at 15 years old in South Africa. You start getting kind of noticed. And then is that how you get kind of linked into qualifying or competing to X Games, or you have to, how do you get into that?
Yeah, so after I would have started competing like all over the world, but then COVID happened.
Oh, man.
So I started back up in 22, just doing all the World Cups and going across the world, trying to get on the like USA national team and stuff. So in 22, I started that, and I wasn't on the team, so I had to pay all my flights, and it sucked.
About a lot of money too, especially traveling out of the country.
Too much money, but it ended up paying off, and I got on the USA national team for 23, and I've been doing that ever since. Still on it for next year. But yeah, X Games is like, for the past few years, it was almost just like a smaller, like in-between contest, because we were just trying to get on the national team, then the Olympic team, and make it to the Olympics. So X Games was like almost like a smaller, just like chill contest, which is kind of crazy.
Which is wild, man. Somebody like me, I think about X Games, I'm like, dude, X Games is huge, you know?
Yeah, but yeah, my first time in X Games was Minneapolis in 2019, and I was 16 years old.
That's awesome.
And back then they had qualifiers to get to the X Games, which was sweet, because like they'd invite all these guys, and if you did good, you made it to X Games. And I ended up winning that. So that's how I made it to X Games in Minneapolis, and did that. Didn't do as good as I wanted to, but I was 16, you know.
Now, what do you do? Well, I mean, what trick are you doing or what combination of tricks are you doing as a 16-year-old to secure that win? You're backflipping, front-flipping?
Yeah, I was doing a lot of good stuff, like a lot of stuff that I still do today, like I was doing back then. So you definitely got to be at the top of your game and not a normal 16-year-old rider, I guess.
So that age, you're probably double tail whipping and back flipping. I mean, I used to know all the tricks, man, but I'm sure they all got different names now. I mean, what are like a couple tricks in your run that you would do? I mean, that you still do now, from when you were 16.
540 flare, flare down whip.
I don't think you guys realize how big a 540 flare is. I mean, that somebody when you're watching this, Google that and YouTube it and see what that is, and you'll understand. You'll probably see him doing it.
But yeah, I mean, so much of this stuff I still do today. Like, I had pretty solid runs back then, and I was happy about them, but I guess the judges didn't like them or something.
Oh man, shame on the judges, man. Somebody didn't get enough morning coffee, I guess.
Yeah, it's like that sometimes. But yeah, and then after that, X Games, I guess COVID happened right after that. But then they had like 2 X Games, and they didn't do the qualifiers. They were just sending out invites to get in X Games, and I didn't get the invite for some reason. But then last year in 23, I got the email that I got invited to California, so I was pretty happy about that. I was like, finally.
Yeah, let's go, man. They were sleeping on you.
Yeah, it was kind of wild because there's a lot of people, other riders that were like, why isn't he here?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's kind of weird. But yeah, I got the invite in 23 and went out to California. So
you were out there in 23 in California, competing X Games. Tell us how that went. Did you medal? Is this what take us through the journey?
No, last year in California, that's when I had a bad fall. His first run, ended up face planting into the deep part of the bowl and broke my cheekbone, my jaw. I got 16 screws and 4 plates in my face now. Ooh. So, not the best fall.
So, a pretty traumatic injury.
Yeah, it was bad. I was laid up for 6 weeks, and then I was back on the bike. So it really wasn't too long before I was riding again.
Wow, man.
But the time I didn't get wired shut, but I got banded shut, and I was on a liquid diet for 4 weeks. So that really sucked.
Now, I'm sure you probably don't remember much of that either. You kind of just waking up.
No. Yeah, I remember waking up in the hospital, and I asked my mom, like, what happened, and she told me, and then it, like, kind of, like, clicked. Like, I was like, oh, yeah.
So you getting ready to do a trick, or you just
it was a big transfer. It wasn't even like a trick. It was just there's a half pipe and then a deep bowl, and I was going from the half pipe into the bowl, and I went too far left. I swear it was the camera dude. That there's a camera dude like right where I needed to go, so it made me like go a little left. But that was like, I needed to land into the pocket, and I just went straight, like, where the quarter pipe was, pretty much. And I was just too deep and just went straight to my face, pretty much.
And is that like the beginning of your run, kind of, or is there like midway through?
Midway, I think, yeah.
Yeah, shoot, man. So you have a pretty scary, traumatic fall coming back out of COVID at X Games. Feeling like you're nervous? Were you eager to get back on the bike still? It didn't scare you at all?
No, it didn't scare me. I mean, I got right back on. I think I did all my tricks in like a week after I got back on.
Wow.
So, I mean, I knew it was just a fluke thing, and I know how to ride my bike. So just kind of went out there and rode like I knew how to. And then I competed for the first time in, I think it was China later that year, so it's pretty quick recovery.
Yeah. So you come back and now you're like, once you recovered, or since you got the email to get invited out there, right? How do you tell X Games, hey, I just messed up, put me back in here. I want to do another competition. I'm ready to go. How do you get a hold of these X Games officials to let them know that?
I think they just like emailed me like sending me an invite, like, if you want to go, like, you're invited.
So you're on the radar now.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
especially after winning the gold this past year in California, like, yeah, I'm definitely on the radar.
yeah, heck yeah. That's good way to be. So take us through, you went to China, competed there after your injury, next games?
Yeah, that was China, into the middle of nowhere in the mountains. It's pretty crazy. It was like over 40-hour travel time to get there. Landed at the one airport, it was like a 6-hour bus ride to where we needed to go. Just in the mountains, just.
No tour bus though, right?
No, I mean,
comfy?
it was weird. Like, we got to this town and it was like a tourist trap town. It's really weird, like in the middle of nowhere. And we're like, on the way there, we're passing like these like abandoned like cities and stuff like no one's living in. Just
stuff you see in the movies, kind of.
Yeah, like,
oh man,
China's wild.
I've never been to China. Yeah.
But I went there. It was a weird course. It was under like a balcony or whatever, canopy, which was nice, and it rained, kept the rain off. But yeah, I ended up 5th, which I was pretty happy with. Like, with the course they gave us, I wasn't too happy, or I was pretty happy, and then it was my first contest back, so I couldn't complain.
Yeah, to come back 5th. I mean, just honestly to compete after, anybody who goes through some kind of an injury that serious is like pretty happy just to be able to, do one. But yeah, dude, that's awesome. Come back 5th, and then where are you at after that? You come back, you get 5th, and then you're on to another X Games?
After that, there was a break until beginning of the next year. So this year is February. I mean, that's when I missed one contest, which was the Worlds last year. But other than that, I didn't really miss nothing. And then once this year started, everything was eyes on the Olympics, just trying to qualify and just get there. So that was the main goal, and we accomplished that. So
got qualified for the Olympics and got to go out there to Paris. And
oh yeah,
tell us a little bit about that experience. I mean, it's not every kid in Ohio gets to go out to the Olympics and compete for anything, let alone do what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, everything just getting there was so stressful. It was weird. This year they had the OQS, which was Olympic Qualifier Series. So all the contests we had leading up to these, you had to qualify for the qualifier series, which was 2 contests, one in Shanghai and one in Budapest. And then if you scored top 6 in those 2 contests, you were guaranteed to go to the Olympics.
So you're flying out there, but you're not guaranteed you're actually going to compete yet. You got to do these competitions to get there.
Yeah, I gotta compete at these qualifier series to get to the Olympics.
Okay.
So the first one was in Shanghai, and I had a great run going, and like right at the end, like 10 seconds left, I fell on like flat ground pretty much. I was carving and my pedal like hit and like high-sided me and put me like right into the face of a jump. So I got like 11th there. And so going into Budapest, I was like, I have to get like top 3 if I want to make it.
Yeah.
So the course was super weird. Like, there's no box jump, which is not normal for these courses. And I was like, man, I hate this course. But like, everyone else was like, I hate this course too. And like, once I started riding and getting used to it and like seeing everyone else, I was like, might have a good chance here. So finals came around, made the finals, and I ended up getting 2nd there, which put me in top 3 on like the qualifier series, which was top 6, so I made it to the Olympics.
That's cool.
So,
What a cool feeling you got after that. Thinking, especially your first run, you're thinking, this do or die here pretty much. If I don't get this, they're gonna ship me back to America.
yeah, it's stressful, like knowing you have to get podium if you want to make it to the Olympics.
I mean, I think that's something that not a lot of people know, which is cool that you're getting to share with us. Is like, imagine saying, hey, you qualified to go compete in the Olympics, but then you really didn't yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get to go over there, but now you have to earn your way to actually compete in the real thing.
Yeah, like when I qualified for the qualifier series, there's like people around here saying, "Oh, you made it to the Olympics." I'm like, "No, not yet. I gotta qualify first."
So I mean, you're probably over there what, a month? I mean, because you're doing a couple of these competitions just to get to the main one.
We'd go for like a week at a time. Like when we'd have to go to Shanghai, it was like 10 days or something. We'd go over there, chill for a bit, then we'd have practice and compete, come home. So.
And then so this is all before everything started?
Yeah.
Like the actual Olympics started? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're doing all that up to it, and then once you make it, then they send you back over to compete for the real thing?
Pretty much, yeah. We were here just training, and we got a facility out in Salt Lake City now. So we were out there 7 weeks this year.
Wow.
We just go out there for a week, come back, and do it over again, 2 weeks. So we were home for a week, and then before the Olympics, we went out to Brussels, Belgium, because they had a course. They just had a contest out there. So we rode that course and just kind of toured the city for a week. Just kind of got used to the time change and everything. And then...
Oh, yeah, I guess that's a big factor, too, being overseas.
Yeah, real big, actually, like with jet lag and stuff. But then after that week was done, we took a train ride over to Paris, and we were there for another week, did the Olympics, and came home.
And toured the entire country at 21. That's so awesome, man. I want to thank our commercial episode sponsors here, Mylon Irrigation and Landscape, Landmark Title, and Sunshine Design. Take us through kind of your placement and some things that you did and some things that you're looking forward to. I imagine you're going to compete in 2028 in LA.
I hope so. I mean, that's the main goal. So.
Yeah. Just tell us about, like, I guess in Paris, kind of like your run and I guess your experience riding in that competition.
Yeah, so the course in Paris was sweet. Like, it was a lot bigger and a lot more ramps than what we were used to. So I was happy about that. And then it was so hot, which I don't do good in the heat. So I was a little nervous about that, but the staff made sure we were cool and hydrated. So that was nice. But yeah, it was so weird because there's 12 guys that go to the Olympics, but then there's like a qualifier at the Olympics. So it cuts to 9 people, which is ridiculous.
From the fat down, you gotta be good.
No one understands it, why they do that. But yeah, I made it. I think I forget. It was like I qualified like second or something.
Oh, yeah, no big deal. Qualified second.
Yeah, it was stressful. But yeah, I made it to the finals day, the big day. But yeah, I dropped in and I slipped a foot on like my first trick. Oh. So I was like, oh man. But I kept going because it wasn't bad. It didn't, like, my foot didn't hit the ground or anything. So, but then on my second box trick, I fell. So I was like, oh, there's that run. I got up. A few minutes went by, got back up there, second run, and I stomped it. I mean, it wasn't exactly what I wanted to do, but it was good enough, and it put me in 4th place. So it was a good run. I mean, the contest was definitely crazier than a normal contest. Like, the top 4 guys all had 93 plus on their score, which is not normal.
Yeah.
And like the top 5 or 6 had over 90. So it was not a normal contest. And so, I mean, I wasn't happy, but I wasn't bummed like about a fourth, because I was so close to a medal.
Getting a medal, man.
Yeah.
And that's like the goal, man. Just to get an Olympic. I mean, just to go, you should be super proud of that.
Yeah.
A medal to hang on the wall is pretty cool too.
Yeah, I was just happy to stomp a run and not like fall or mess up that second run too. So
Now, do you get 2 or 3 in the Olympics?
2.
You only get 2.
Yeah, it's
Now, X Games is 3, right?
yeah. Lately it's been 3, but yeah, in these like World Cups, they give us in finals it's 2 runs, best run counts. So.
And now, do they don't do combined scores, just your best overall or your best score from whatever?
And usually in qualifying X Games and the World Cups, they'll do like two runs, both runs count. So they'll take the average. So that's always stressful, because you can't mess up at all.
Yeah, no falls. They both got to be 90 or above to get a good score.
Yeah, there's been talks about that getting done away with, but who knows what they'll do.
Well, hey, there's always if there's always LA in 28, I don't doubt that you'll be there. And I mean, heck, with the 4th place, man, I think you're probably gonna take home gold. I got some.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. We don't even know what the qualifying like to get there is yet, but hopefully they come out with it soon and start working at it.
Yeah. Now they'll do that usually a year before you'll start qualifying, kind of the same like you did last time.
It was 2 years for this past Olympics,
Okay.
so
Wow.
we'll see what it is this time.
So you got some time to kind of prep up and get ready for it then.
Yeah, probably. We'll see what they do.
We'll see, man.
No idea.
Super cool, man. Olympic athlete right here. I mean, not many people get to say that. That's really cool, man. You had a visit to the State House because of that here recently, right?
Yeah, like, what was that, a week or 2 ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet. They invited, I think it was like all the Ohio Olympians. There's like 7 of us there. Not everyone came, but 7 people showed up or something. But yeah, it was sweet. Went there, toured the State House, and
Pretty cool.
yeah, they announced us, did some like Q&A, and yeah, it was pretty sweet. It's a cool event.
And you got, I haven't got to show you mine, but I saw you posted your documents of kind of some things that they had given you. I won something way smaller scale compared to what you're doing from a college that I went to, Clark State. And I noticed that I have probably a pretty similar document that you have, except for mine doesn't say Olympics, BMX, nothing cool like that. Mine just says, which is cool actually, not to downgrade what it is, but I got an emerging leader award this year too. But it's a similar document that says the same thing. So
Yeah,
we'll have to hold those up here a little bit and kind of show that. That's pretty neat. Ohio accomplishment. Did you get 3 of them? Like one from the Senate, one from the House, and then something else?
Yeah, I do have 3 of them.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's so cool. Not many people get to do that either, man. Go to the old State House and check it out. That's neat, out in Columbus.
Yeah.
So what's next? I know you said you're on a little bit of a kind of in between right now. What's next on the calendar for you?
Yeah, so right now, I mean, it's just training and working out 4 or 5 days a week, just keeping fresh and trying to learn some new stuff. As of now, I'm done competing for the year. I thought we were going to Abu Dhabi in December, but USA said it's not in the budget. They ain't paying for it.
Man.
So
USA's got it. Come on now.
I'm not paying to get out there.
Yeah, I don't even want to think about what that's
expensive plane ticket. But yeah, starts back up next year. So
do you have an event yet that you got on the 25 calendar?
no,
Wait until you get the
they
call for
they usually come out with this schedule in like December-ish.
Okay.
So we'll just still gotta wait and see what they announce.
So you'll get the schedule, and then they'll, let's just say they go Abu Dhabi, they go China, they go France, whatever they do. Now you're pretty much whatever's on the schedule, you're there.
Yep.
That's cool. And you'll go there and compete. And
Yep, USA will send me out there, and we go out there for a week and compete. It's usually a few in Europe, maybe in the out like Abu Dhabi area. We had one in Saudi Arabia not too long ago.
But that was a hot one too.
Yeah, it was. Well, no, actually, it was weird. On finals day, it was like everyone had hoodies on and stuff.
Oh, really?
It's kind of crazy, yeah. I was a little cold, actually.
I guess when, people who haven't been there like myself and anybody else listening, I think of Abu Dhabi, I think that's hot out there,
Abu Dhabi was ridiculous. It was like 95 and humid, but Saudi, for whatever time of the year we were there, I guess it wasn't too hot.
So you'll do those next year. So that's kind of what it is. Now, one thing I didn't get to touch on earlier, I was wondering how many X Games events do they do a year, and then like how do you balance those two, or are they together?
Yeah, so right now it's usually like 2 X Games events a year.
Okay.
There's been one in California, and then there'll be one in Japan. But I think in the next year or two, they're going to start doing this X Games League thing, which they haven't come out with too much info on, but they said it's going to be like, kind of like back in the day, like 5 different stops, like a few in the country and a few out of the country. So we're all looking forward to that.
Put you on a little tour run, right?
Yeah.
Now, will you be able to balance that if they do come out with that? What, I guess the USA team takes priority over X Games.
Pretty much. If we have a World Cup like the same weekend, we probably got to go to that.
The X Games one?
No,
Or
to the World Cup, yeah. Because I mean, USA expects me to be there, especially if it's points towards the like Olympics or something. Definitely got to go to that.
That's cool. Another question, music-wise, you're getting ready for your Olympic ride. What do you listen to? You got some Lil Wayne on. You got some Five Finger Death Punch. Where you at? What's on your playlist?
Oh man, I think at the Olympics, me and Justin Dow, the other dude that was there, we were in the tent getting ready. I think we were listening to the rap at that point. I think we had Young Dolph on.
Young Dolph. Shout out Young Dolph.
But yeah, I don't know. Usually listen to rap when I'm around that kid.
Yeah.
So
some hip hop. So you got mostly hip hop's getting you pumped up. You got some Future on there. You got any Mac Miller? Or
Mac Miller. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. I got a lot of like 2000s type stuff, like 3 6 Mafia, Lil Wayne.
Yeah. We're talking about like Lil Wayne, like the Carter 2.
Yeah,
old school stuff. Some On Me. Yeah, that's all the good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, that's a good playlist for sure. Kind of wrapping up here. Last few things. I think here in a little bit we're gonna head out to the ramps, and Marcus is gonna do some riding. You're gonna ride today a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, heck yeah. He might jump over me or something. I don't know. We'll see what kind of crazy stuff we can get into. Any final thoughts? Anything for the podcast for listeners out there?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, appreciate everyone tuning in. See what I got to say. Yeah, I don't know.
Big stuff in this guy's future. If you don't follow him, do yourself a favor. At Marcus Christopher Bikes. Are you on Facebook too? Just Instagram?
Just Instagram.
Maybe TikTok? Not yet. He will be. I'm sure between USA and X Games and Rockstar and DK, they're going to get him on all these platforms here before long.
I keep being told to get on TikTok.
Yeah,
but.
Yeah, you should, man. TikTok's a great platform, and it's with you being around the country so much too. Your network reach can be a little bit further than just people who are centralized in America.
Yeah.
So you definitely should. Shout out to Corey Smirt, our camera guy, who's just absolutely amazing. Any final thoughts your way? Any questions you have?
One question for you. What would you say to a younger kid who's trying to pursue your path?
I'd say to a younger kid, just go out there and have fun. Just
ride your bike like a kid does, and just slowly progress and have fun with it. Like, don't think you're gonna go out there and kill your first contest and win and get all these sponsors. Just go out there, have fun with it, see where it takes you, and maybe you'll end up in X Games one day.
Yeah, man. I mean, you exactly what we're here. You got to pay your dues if you want to get to where you want to be at, and that's what it's all about. Just don't be afraid to start. The hardest thing is starting, I think. And man, take it from this guy. I mean, you might be able to see some of these medals up on the wall in the backdrop, but I think these are probably just a very, very, very small portion of what he has. But some of the biggest names and medals that you can win in the sport. So, yeah, man. Well, with that being said, Marcus Christopher, my man, thank you so much for being on the podcast, and thank you for telling your story and, man, paying your dues out there. We really appreciate it, and we'll be looking forward to your journey in the future, and we'll be supporting it all the way through. So,
Yeah, sweet. Thank you.
All right, signing off. We'll see you guys on the next one.